The first day, they already knew that she was going to be appointed. Obviously, from India's point of view, it makes sense because they want to make sure that things don't go out of control in Nepal. It is in their national interest. But for Nepal, we need to be able to show ourselves as independent country making its own judgment. They are a little bit scared of the speed of development that China is making, especially in technology and military field. So, whole of the Western world is watching China very carefully. If we have to blame later, only people that are active will get the blame. People who are passive will get less blame. So, eventually when the dust settles down, when we measure our damage, we are going to probably find people that have been involved more guilty for what happened to us than the Chinese who have kept quiet.
Foreign Affairs expert Bhairaja Pandey sir, welcome to the Gorkha Spirit.
Thank you very much.
After this Genz protest, our neighbors, especially the southern neighbors, is very active, and the northern neighbor is very silent. So why? What do you think about this?
Southern neighbor is very active because it feels that Nepal is very important for them in terms of their national security. Whatever happens in Nepal is a security concern for India. So, they watch our developments in Nepal very carefully. They are in touch with everyone in Nepal, and they are also manipulating who gets appointed to what post and when and how.
Our Prime Minister, we know second day, but they told yesterday already.
The first day, they already knew that she was going to be appointed. Obviously, from India's point of view, it makes sense because they want to make sure that things don't go out of control in Nepal. It is in their national interest. But for Nepal, we need to be able to show ourselves as independent country making its own judgment. And in this chaotic situation, all the neighbors will take advantage. If your house is in order, nobody will intervene. If your house is in not order, everyone will intervene. That's the situation we have now.
So our neighbor interfere our internal affairs.
They have always interfered, and they will always continue to interfere. But the Chinese are less concerned about what happens in Nepal because they know that they have their border with Tibet controlled, and Chinese are little bit distant from Nepal because the Chinese are not so much impacted by what happens in Nepal, but India is directly involved, impacted by what happens in Nepal.
The Western power center also very interested in our internal affairs. So do you think it's true?
Yes, the Americans very much interested. Present movement is funded by the Western system, and Americans and Europeans fund it, and they are very much interested in it because they have a tussle going on between themselves and the Chinese, and because our Chinese are our neighbors, they are interested in what happens in Nepal because they want to control China, and they are a little bit scared of the speed of development that China is making, especially in technology and military field. So, whole of the Western world is watching China very carefully.
So our Genz, our just like our brothers, sisters, the young people burnt our country. So, in such situations, do you think we will help China? Because they just like ignored our situation, our southern neighbors raised it, and it is said that the Westerns also fueled the protest.
The Chinese are very clever because they know what is in their interest. They are interested in economy. They are interested in business. They want to do business with Nepal. They don't want necessarily to get involved in Nepalese political setup. They don't have too much interest in that. But the Indians have interest in our economy, politics, and everything that happens in Nepal. So these are two different approaches. If we have to blame later, only people that are active will get the blame. People who are passive will get less blame. So eventually when the dust settles down, when we measure our damage, we are going to probably find people that have been involved more guilty for what happened to us than the Chinese who have kept quiet.
So, the protest, the burn down, such destroying the country, it is necessary for us, or just we are fueled to do this?
It is the technique to destabilize the country. It has been very successful, but it has also achieved its aim. Its aim was to overthrow corrupt leaders, which it succeeded. Its aim was not to burn the buildings and infrastructure, which came as a consequence, which came as a consequence of the protest and hijacking of the protest by others. But in a revolution, you cannot control everything.
So, you mentioned that hijacking their just like agendas. So, who hijacked, our political parties or our neighbors or international power centers?
I think all three. They all started with Genz, very precise, very peaceful protest, and into that they mixed everything else, their own agenda. Everybody added to it, and the result was what we saw. Some of our homegrown political parties also contributed to it, and then funding that came from Western countries also contributed to it, and then those people who have other personal interests also got involved in it. Enmity, all of them got involved.
So, what they get from this?
What they got is they got revenge. They got revenge. They say you did this to us, so now we are going to do this to you. The ruling parties had lot of enemies within Nepal and outside Nepal. They all took revenge on them, and so they targeted anything associated with the two leading political parties. And you will see some parties did not get the same impact, but most of the damages etc. was either to the records that were there that they wanted to destroy, or these were the people that these miscreants they wanted to harass and to take revenge. They succeeded.
So, it's the age of technology, it's the age of social media. So, the revenge, they took the revenge, and still the leaders are here. So, what will be the relation, diplomatic relation with them in the days to come?
No, it will be a terrible relationship now. There is an enemy, there is a war going to emerge between the protesters and the leaders that were ousted. They are a significant force. Both UML and Congress are a significant political force in the country. Now, the current development has made them enemies. They are watching very carefully, and when their turn comes, they will hit back. They are not going to lie silent.
So it will be beneficial for the country.
It will not be beneficial. There will be a prolonged period of conflict in the country. At the end of it, someone may emerge victorious, but my prediction is that the country is going to a prolonged period of instability and conflict.
So is there any just like we have? Do you think we have any option to stable the country?
The country can be stabilized with the use of the army. That is the only power we have. So if we keep army on standby, whichever next government comes, and army, every time there is a disturbance, army helps to stabilize it. That's the only way to do it. That it is done in Thailand, it is done in Vietnam, it's done in China. They all have their forces, armed forces, supporting the government when they need. So now whichever government comes into existence as a result of this, if we want to stabilize the situation, we must have army supporting.
So the so-called our neighbors, they just accept this.
Yes, I think once they know, an unstable Nepal is not good for our neighbors as well. They would like to see a stable country, but they have helped to destabilize it anyway. But in due course, hopefully, they will understand that a stable, progressive, prosperous Nepal is in their interest also.
So if there will be just like a army regime, as you said, so what will be the danger? Internal forces or external?
No, it doesn't have to be army regime. It just has to be army in support of a civilian regime. Army stays at the background, and it could be, and then whenever the democratically elected government is in trouble, the army comes to rescue them. So, but just that it has to be a coexistence between the army and the civilian government, otherwise we will have a very troubled nation.
Thank you. Thanks
Okay.
for joining with us.
Thank you very much.